This narrative has to change. And you see, they brought these traditions, these cultures. I'm sorry to say this, Jola. I'm sorry to say this. But I think that the major tribe that covers this kind of abuse and uses all kinds of facades in Nigeria, the leading tribe is Yoruba.
I agree.
They will keep quiet and tie their child down there because they're trying to maintain the facade of, oh, in our family there is no divorce, the image, see, now those traditions have seeped into the church. This is part of the reason why the church is entrenching and engendering abuse and domestic violence, because we've allowed cultures, norms of our traditions to creep into the church, and we are now interpreting scriptures from cultural bias that evil is good in the sight of the Lord. This is what the church does. So you say, okay, you know that woman that called you that you said she should break her SIM card. You are telling the woman, go back home, but you are not telling the man anything. You are not holding him to any standard of behavior. You are not insisting that he should go for anger management classes. You are not telling him that the church will excommunicate him if he continues to maltreat his wife. You are just telling her to go because, again, they want to maintain the facade of normalcy. Let me tell you, I'm sorry to make this, what you call it, example. Because bloggers will carry it now that I say Yoruba people are the ones that kill their children in marriage because they will carry it. But you see, I come from the northern part of Nigeria, and northern part of Nigeria is largely Muslim. Do you know that for the Muslim religion, a woman is not bound to stay under abuse? In fact, for them, it is worse for a girl never to marry. But if she has married, if there's anything she can't deal with, you will hear the women say to the men, Wallahi kabani seki uku. Zantafi. What that means is, okay, in the Islamic religion, if a man says, I divorce you once, she can stay. If he says, I divorce you twice, she can go to her father's house and come back, and they will reconcile. But if he says, I divorce you 3 times, she can never come back. You will hear the girl saying to the men, divorce me permanent, let me go. So that thing about staying and dying, you don't see it much in the Islamic culture, in the Hausa culture. But the Christian part of the north, even when the man says, I give you seki uku, they are staying there. They are staying there. I asked a question, I preached a few weeks ago in a Fountain of Life in Lagos. What is it about marriage that we have made an idol that we will lose heaven because of? Pastor Jola, there are many husbands who are so bitter at their wives, they will miss heaven because of bitterness. There are women who will not enter heaven, not because they did not receive Jesus Christ as Lord, but because bitterness blocked them, and the bitterness was from husband. How do we mortgage eternity for a temporary thing? Marriage is temporary. It ends here. When did we elevate it beyond the value of a human life? When? How? How? It wasn't even an apostle that was talking. It was Jesus himself that said, there is no marriage in heaven. It is not a criteria for entering heaven. It is not a qualification for entering heaven. Why? So Africa needs to sit up and take notice. So God says, God hates those who love violence. Violence, whether physical, emotional, or verbal, is detestable to God, and it stands contrary to his nature of love and justice. Pastors are not doing justice to people, victims of abuse. No. Churches are not doing. Do you know, I saw something today that bothered my spirit and pained me. Thank God it is past. In Italy, Jola, in Italy, as recently as 1965, there was a law in Italy that said that if a man raped a woman, that her only option is to marry the rapist or remain shamed and desolate in her father's house. He has raped me, violated me. My only option is either to marry him or to remain in shame in my father's house.
Wow.
And so one girl got raped in 1965. They came, mafia people came to her father's house, beat her mother, took her and her 8-year-old brother. Then they released the brother and kept her for 8 days. And the man that was the head of the mafia unit repeatedly raped her. Then sent her back to her father's house. I was now waiting for her to come and marry him. The guy said, I'm not married. The whole community rose up against her father. What is wrong? Why is she going to court? She's shaming your family. She's shaming our community. The father said, I'm standing by my daughter. They burnt the father's farms, destroyed their property. The father said, I'm standing by my daughter. The guy went to court and she won the case. That is what turned the law in Italy, that you don't shame the victim anymore. But sadly, my dear, that's happening in the church. You know what the Pope did? The Pope had a meeting with the girl just to endorse her so that she can pick up her life again. And somebody that has loved her from childhood married her. She changed the law of the land. We need more women like that to stand up and take on the identity of the shamed so that we can remove shame forever. take on temporary shame to remove permanent shame. Do you understand? But the church will make the victim responsible for fixing what they didn't break. How does a man beat me and you tell me to go and submit to the man, but you don't tell him, don't ever lift your hand on her, and she triggers me? Excuse me? Nobody can make you do what you don't want to do. Nobody. So let me read. God commands husbands to love, not hurt. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 20-29. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated his own body, but they feed and care for their body just as Christ does the church. A godly husband nourishes and cherishes his wife. Is the opposite of Christ-like love. Now, Jola, there's scripture in Timothy that said, if any man will not follow the rules of the church, will have nothing to do with such a man. My problem is we pick and choose the scriptures we want to believe and implement. We pick and choose. We cherry pick scriptures. You talk to a man, don't commit adultery again. He goes and does it again. You talk to him. The Bible says have nothing to do with such a man. But for where? That's the man that the church will be carrying because he's bringing money to the church. That's the man the church will be carrying because he's influential in the society. They like the fact that he's a member of their church. So they will sacrifice the values, the tenets, the doctrines of the church to accommodate him like that in church, when the Bible says we should excommunicate them. So we cherry pick the scriptures we want to obey. We cherry pick. Now listen to this. The order of God is that the man loves his wife and lays his life down for her. That's the order of God. But do you know why we have so much chaos today? They are insisting that the women should lay their lives down for the men. Every time you...
And even indirectly, it's happening.
Of course now.
Osinachi.
Absolutely. She laid her life down. Look at the trauma of the children. The father is in jail. The mother is dead. We don't even know what's happening to those children.
And you know, one of the things they say is, think about your children.
You
know, think about your children.
Okay.
Think about, and you know, I remember that my brother said something to me that that was the first time I was, because they said think about your children so much to me that I was, oh, my children, I can't live because of my children. And my brother said, wait, look at it this way. You have children that are being brought up in a home where there's chaos, right? Where there's toxicity, where there's energy in the house. And then you have children with one parent, because one person cannot fight alone, right?
Yeah.
It takes two to fight. Which atmosphere, which environment do you think is actually better for those children?
Okay.
The one where there's peace and one parent, or five, toxicity, and two parents.
Okay.
And from what
You thought about it. Okay, Stajola, you know I run a rehab center, right? Most of the young people they are bringing who are struggling because of home issues. And most of them, guess what? They are angry at their mothers. Why are you? They're angry at their father for perpetrating the violence, but they're angry at their mother for taking it.
For not living.
For not living. In fact, it happened in my own house. My senior sister, she was very sickly. My mother spent most of her time with my sister because she was almost always in hospital, right? But my senior sister and my mother had the worst relationship. I didn't know why till much later. And it was that my sister was angry at my mother for sitting down and taking my father's rubbish. She was angry. Why didn't you leave? Why did you stay? Why are you staying? Now, do you know that the way you have support groups for Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, do you know that there's support group now for children that grew up in violent homes? They have to have support groups because the toxicity, they're carrying it into their adulthood. Let me tell you, I dare say, Jola, part of the reason that many people accept abuse is because it was normalized for them and modeled at home. At home. What made you shout? You saw something, eh?
So this person first of all said, why did God say let my people go? Right? And now say let my people go that they will worship
me.
Is the marriage?
Is the marriage allowing the victim to worship? Powerful.
Because really, you know, I remember that when I left the relationship after 16 years, I said to myself, I don't want to be a Christian again. Before I left, of course, after a while, my faith, because I'm married to a pastor.
Why am I being abused?
Wickedness of the highest order.
Good.
There was a day I don't know, maybe some of you might have experience of this. When this person uses the bathroom, there's water all over the floor, and I said, oh please, and there's bath mats there. Please use the bath mats. Please stand on the bath mats. But no. So that day, finished taking the bath, there was water all over the floor, and I was going inside the bathroom. And I skipped,
and you fell.
And I blacked out.
Okay.
This person was in the room. Let me not come and say, are you okay? Let me not say, is everything? I blacked out. It was about 6 seconds because I woke up, but I knew that I blacked out. And I stood there and I said, God forbid if my enemy had died. That would have been.
That would have been.
And they would be forming they'll be forming
grief. They'll be forming grief.
Grief. I said, it is wickedness.
It is. It is.
So I said, I don't want to be a Christian again because God, I just don't understand how somebody can be a pastor and this amount of wickedness is inside of them.
Okay, so now,
so I really love this perspective of,
is it allowing her to worship God? Yes. To Israel, let them go so that they can worship me, because the worship of God is higher than your need for slaves. Colossians chapter 3 verse 19. Abuse breaks God's law of love. Husbands, love your wives. Colossians 3:19. Husband, love your wives and never treat them.
What translation?
New Living Translation. Husbands, love your wife and never treat them harshly. 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4-5. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. True love never inflicts harm, Jola. True love never inflicts harm. Any form of violence contradicts the spirit of divine love. Any form of violence, it contradicts it. Number 5, God defends the oppressed. Psalm 9 verse 9. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Psalm 72 verse 14. He will rescue them from oppression and violence. For precious is their blood in his sight. God's heart leans towards the victim, not the abuser. That's what the church must do. The heart of the church must lean towards the victim, not the abuser. The protection of the church must go to the victim, not the abuser. The defense of the church must go to the victim, not the abuser. The protection of the church must go to the victim, not the abuser. The warfare of the church must be against the abuser, not the victim. The demand for certain levels of behavior must be placed on the abuser, not the victim. If God is a refuge for the suffering, he said, is a stronghold in times of trouble for the oppressed. The church should become a stronghold for the oppressed in time of trouble. When a woman, Jonah, listen to this. A woman was reported by her husband that she slapped him. She slapped him. Pastor sent for the wife. The wife came to honor pastor. Why should you slap your husband? Under no circumstance. She says, can I explain? I don't want to hear. There is no reason under the sun why you should lift your hand against your husband. Kneel down and beg him. Kneel down and beg him. The woman knelt down and begged the husband. Then she called me. She said, even if I'm dying, and that church is the only church in this world, I will die rather than go there. Do you know what happened? Why the woman slapped him? Their child they had a quarrel, and their child did something wrong, and she beat the child for doing something. The child stole. So she was disciplining the child. Why would you steal? The husband got up, got his belt, and used the buckle end to beat her. By the time she came to me, you could see the shape of the buckle on her body, like bruises. He was beating her. After beating her with that belt, he now got her into the bathroom, in the bathtub, and was choking the life out of her. So it was her son, the second son, that came and was saying, Daddy, Daddy, don't kill my mommy. Daddy, Daddy, don't kill my mommy. And was distracting the man. So she managed to get up. And the only way she could escape him was to slap him and push him and run out. And the pastor will not give her a chance to explain. All he's concerned about is that a woman lifted her hand to slap her husband. She said, even if I would die, I will never come to this pastor for help. Let me die. If God is a refuge, a stronghold for the oppressed in the time of trouble, then the church should be a stronghold. Look, there's one pastor, and forgive me, I will call his name because it's a good thing he did. Pastor Clement Somerway. He's a pastor in the UK. He said to me there was a man that was ill-treating his wife so bad. And he didn't know until the thing got so bad, the woman now ran to church. The first thing he did, he took the woman, got her in a safe place. Then he sent for the man. The man came. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? He said, Oga, until you are ready to treat your wife right, number one, don't come to this church again. Yeah, so he told him, don't come to this church again, number one. Number two, you will not see that woman until you put things right. And if you dare look for her where she is, I will call the police on you. He said that woman so stabilized because she knew that there was protection. The reason some of the women stay is because the church will not protect them. Yeah. What is this facade you want to present of our church is normal, our church is powerful, there is no divorce, there is no separation? Jesus did not come for the perfect, he came for the broken. He came for the broken. And people, husbands and wives who are being abused are broken. Tomorrow, you'll be hearing from a man who suffered abuse for 10 years. 10 good years. 10 good years. You will hear. Then you will understand why the church needs to step up. You know why? One of the reasons the church doesn't want to do that. This is an emotionally and financially expensive ministry. If a woman has to run and she has no money, the church has to bring money, and the church doesn't want to bring money. The church will not bring money to save a life. I preached one time on my TV program. Some pastors gathered and went to report me to my pastor. That I'm saying that, what did I say? I said, men and women bring their resources to church, their time, their intellectual properties. They bring their money to church. They bring their everything to church. I said, but when they fall into trouble, especially husband and wife, the church pretends not to know, pulls back and leaves them. If they make it, thank God. If they don't make it, is their problem. But if they make it and come back to church, the church comes back again to them. I said they pay their tithes and offerings to those churches. They pay their tithes, they give their offerings and sacrifices to those churches. When they're in trouble, the church has a responsibility to help them through it. They went and gathered and went to my pastor that, look at what this woman is saying against pastors. Why is she preaching against pastors? You have to call her to order. God bless my pastor. My pastor said to them, she has a husband. Go and tell the husband, I cannot speak to somebody's wife. Go and tell her husband to tell her to stop saying the things he said. When the pastor told my husband what they were saying, my husband said, Mister, I don't like some of the things my wife says, but she's telling the truth. He said some of the things she says, I'm guilty, but she's telling the truth. I bet my wife speak the truth, Jerry. Let some of these things change. I'm not joking. The church has a responsibility.